Have you ever wondered about the ironic paradox in love and life? Why is it that when we wholeheartedly pursue and long for something, it remains distant, yet when we let go and accept its absence, it unexpectedly returns? Is this a mischievous game played by the universe, or a deep mystery hidden in human nature? There exists a paradox within our minds. The more we desire something, the harder it is to grasp. Conversely, when we learn to let go, to abandon our intense pursuit, the very thing we desire seems to come to us on its own, as if drawn by our indifference. This strange phenomenon extends beyond human interactions. It reflects the subtle laws of the universe, as contemplated and concluded by ancient philosophers. It seems the universe is testing human resilience, our ability to master desire and achieve self-control and serenity. We no longer chase after our cravings, but instead learn to observe in stillness, waiting for the right moment to act decisively and effectively. Imagine the first man, whose heart is always thirsting for approval, especially in love. He is consumed by endless messages, questions of concern, and even overindulgence toward the person he secretly admires. His fear of being abandoned and his obsession with a lack of affection have turned him into a moth drawn to the flame, constantly seeking reassurance, a warm glance, or a confirmation of love. Ironically, these efforts are like arrows shot backward, pulling him deeper into a vortex of insecurity. His constant search for attention and hunger for praise unintentionally exposes his lack of confidence, weakness, and even desperation. Instead of creating attraction, it drives others away, for no one wants to be tied to a soul that is always in need of protection and lacking a strong, independent identity. Now let's shift our focus to the second man. He carries within him a calm, resilient spirit, and a free soul unburdened by emotional waves. He does not chase after anyone, nor does he seek validation, but instead focuses on the journey of self-improvement, pursuing his burning passions. He is confident in his own worth, finding happiness from within, not dependent on shallow praises. Around him there are always women who find in him an alluring masculine charm. But why is that? The answer, according to Stoic philosophers, lies in how we respond to life's changes. As Epictetus once said, "What matters is not what happens to you, but how you react to it." When we are no longer driven by desperation or intense desire, we unintentionally change the dynamic of the game. We are no longer the hunter, but the hunted. The difference in how these two men react is the key to happiness. One relentlessly searches for happiness outside of himself, while the other creates happiness from within. One depends on love and approval, while the other is the master of his own self, creating his own value. It is precisely that confidence, independence, and strength that create an irresistible attraction for the second man. He doesn't need to go out of his way to impress or prove himself. The calmness and self-control that radiate from him are signs of maturity, masculinity, and reliability, making others feel safe and comfortable in his presence. He understands that true love is not about possession, but about the harmony between two free souls, a bond based on mutual respect and admiration. Imagine when we truly embrace indifference, when we no longer care whether someone likes us or not. We create an open space for self-respect and dignity to flourish, like a flower confidently blooming under the sun. Not needing anyone's approval, its inherent beauty is enough to captivate every gaze. This is not a game of pride, nor a psychological tactic. It is true detachment, a release from the need to control or possess. When we are indifferent, we are no longer swayed by others' moods or preferences, and this psychological freedom makes us more attractive than ever. Before starting this exciting journey of self-discovery and transformation, I want each of us to affirm the incredible value within ourselves. Take a moment, breathe deeply, and proudly declare to the world, "I am strong." Write this mantra down in the comments below so it becomes a source of energy, strength, and motivation for you on the path ahead. And if you want to join us, share stories, valuable lessons, and together create an amazing community. Hit the subscribe button now. This is where we connect, inspire, and grow together. But remember, you're not alone on this journey. We will share, support, and witness our own remarkable transformations together. The first thing I want you to remember is that when you notice someone's interest in you fading, the initial instinct is often to chase after them, to try to pull them back. But it is at that very moment that stepping back can bring you the greatest strength. Instead of falling into the trap of thinking that you need to do more, to become someone else to keep their attention, choose calmness and indifference. This is not a sign of weakness, but rather a display of confidence and self-awareness. The power of indifference lies in its ability to free you from trying to control what cannot be controlled. Sometimes the effort to control or manipulate others only leaves you feeling exhausted and losing yourself in the process. When you stop trying to control the situation, you create the opportunity to focus on yourself, on your growth and personal happiness. Roman philosopher Seneca once emphasized, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. This is the key to overcoming any worries about whether the other person will return. The focus should not be on others, but on you, whether you can live with dignity, self-respect, and find peace within. For example, imagine a romantic relationship where you notice the other person becoming distant, no longer showing the same time or affection as before. Instead of anxiously trying everything to hold them back, you decide to step back, focus on yourself, on your work, hobbies, and the loved ones around you. You do not try to control their emotions, but allow them to experience and reflect on their own. When you spend time on yourself, no longer chasing, the other person may begin to notice your absence, realize that the relationship is no longer the same, and in turn, they may actively seek to reconnect. When you step back and stop trying to hold on, you create space for things to unfold naturally. This is what makes you irresistible. Others are drawn to your calm and confidence. And it is precisely when you stop chasing, stop worrying about whether they care, that they may begin to reach out to you. This is not a manipulative tactic, but rather the natural result of the freedom you allow both yourself and others. Imagine a ballet dancer on stage. They cannot control the stage lights, the music, or the audience reactions, but they have full control over their body, their graceful movements, their confident expression, and the emotions they wish to convey. It is this intense focus on the elements within their control that creates a breathtaking performance, keeping the audience captivated. Similarly, in life, when we learn to let go, it doesn't mean we are giving up or becoming indifferent to everything. It is a wise way to transform our energy, focusing on what truly matters and holds meaning for us. So when we let go of worries and fears, we create more space and strength to pursue our passions, improve ourselves, and bring positive value to life. Sometimes letting go is the way to hold on to happiness tightly. When we learn to let go, we free ourselves from the burden of expectations, from the anxiety of things falling apart, and at the same time, we grant the other person the freedom to choose their own path. Letting go doesn't mean giving up on love or hope. It is a way of expressing mature love, respecting the freedom and choices of the other person. Just like planting a seed in the ground, you cannot dig it up every day to check if it has sprouted. Instead, you must trust in the seed's vitality, nurture it, and patiently wait for it to grow. Love works in the same way. When we let go of control, we allow it to grow naturally, healthily, and sustainably. The silence of letting go provides both people with the space to reflect on the relationship, to listen to their hearts, and to recognize each other's true value. During this time, the other person may come to realize your genuine feelings, or you may discover that you deserve a more fulfilling love. Regardless of the outcome, letting go helps you grow, understand yourself, and understand love better. Often, when you stop trying to control things, true love can return in a miraculous, stronger, and more complete way. Because at that point, love is no longer about possession or control, but a voluntary connection between two harmonious souls. Letting go is a courageous journey, requiring bravery and trust. But the reward for letting go is freedom, true happiness that comes from within, and the ability to love and be loved completely. Imagine a small stream winding its way through a vast forest, its water flowing gently and serenely. It doesn't rush, nor does it strain to pass over the scattered rocks blocking its path. The stream flows naturally, gracefully meandering like a soft ribbon stretching across the wilderness. Wherever it flows, the rocks naturally give way. The stream does not need to fight, yet it overcomes all obstacles with ease and grace. Love is the same. Sometimes we tirelessly strive to impress, to prove ourselves, to win someone's heart. But in reality, true love doesn't need force or pretense. Just be yourself, with all the beauty and strength that lies within you. Like the stream, let sincerity and inner strength guide you, and they will inevitably reach the heart of the one you love. The strongest attraction doesn't come from external charms, but from the confidence that radiates from within. It is the self-mastery, inner strength, and quiet power of an independent soul that makes you attractive and irresistible to others. They are drawn to you not because you are trying to seek attention or beg for love, but because they desire the remarkable qualities you possess: confidence, serenity, and a rich inner world. The human heart holds a paradox that has puzzled thinkers, philosophers, and poets for centuries: the paradox of desire. The more we long for something, the harder it is to grasp. But when we learn to let go, when we no longer cling to burning desires, what we yearn for seems to come to us as if drawn by our indifference. And this is why when you no longer want them, they want you. The paradox of desire, like a double-edged sword, can both motivate us to rise and become a suffocating burden, robbing us of our freedom and, ultimately, of ourselves. The Stoic philosophers, with their timeless wisdom, deeply understood the nature of happiness and true freedom. They believed that the key to a peaceful and fulfilling life doesn't lie in satisfying endless desires, but in controlling them, in knowing what is enough, and in wanting less. Epictetus, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, once said, "The only worthwhile goal in life is freedom. You achieve it by disregarding what you cannot control." The freedom Epictetus spoke of is not merely physical freedom, but a deeper, more profound release of freedom from the bondage of desires, passions, and external influences. When we desire something too intensely, we become slaves to that desire. Our minds are dominated by thoughts of it, our actions driven by it, and our emotions dependent on whether we attain it or not. This dependency robs us of self-control, inner peace, and ultimately our true selves. On the contrary, when we learn to control our desires, to be content with what we have, and to let go of things beyond our control, we achieve true freedom. We are no longer swept away by the endless cycle of desires, nor are we influenced by external factors, allowing us to focus on inner growth, nurture spiritual values, and live a meaningful and fulfilling life. Let's imagine two people living opposite lifestyles. The first person constantly craves recognition, status, and material wealth. He is always comparing himself to others, envious of their success, and endlessly striving for things he believes will bring him happiness. He works tirelessly, sacrificing his health and relationships to pursue distant goals. However, no matter what he achieves, he still feels empty and insecure. His desires are insatiable, and there are always new heights to conquer. He remains a slave to his own wants. The second person, by contrast, leads a simple life and is content with what he has. He is not concerned with external vanities, but focuses on inner development, nurturing spiritual values, and fostering meaningful relationships. He finds joy in simple things, appreciates what he has, and continually learns and improves himself. He does not need recognition or praise from others to feel happy, because his happiness comes from within. Clearly, the second person lives a freer and more fulfilled life than the first. He is not bound by material desires, nor is he influenced by others' judgments. He is able to take control of his life and enjoy each moment. This inner freedom not only brings peace and happiness to the individual, but also creates a special attraction to those around him. When we are no longer obsessed with our perceived lacks, when we radiate confidence and tranquility, we become more attractive than ever. Remember, true attraction doesn't come from how many things we possess, but from who we are, from our inner strength and freedom. When we learn to control our desires, live a meaningful and fulfilling life, we shine from within and attract good things to our lives. When caught in the spiral of desire, we often lose our reasoning and act impulsively. Intense desire, especially in love, can make us blind, dependent, and vulnerable. If you find yourself in such a situation, taking a step back is crucial. Take time to calm down and reflect on the source of that intense desire. Why do you desire that person so much? Do you believe they are the perfect piece to complete your life, the one who will fill the void in your soul? Or are you afraid of loneliness, afraid of facing yourself, and thus clinging to someone like a lifeline? Are you expecting them to bring you happiness? The reality is that no one can complete you except yourself. Each person is an independent individual with their own strengths, weaknesses, and journey. Expecting someone else to fill the voids in your soul is an illusion, and it only leads to disappointment and dependency. True happiness doesn't come from relying on others, but from loving and accepting yourself, from pursuing your passions, and living a meaningful life. So once you understand the root of your desire, try to detach yourself from it. Recognize that completeness and happiness come from within, not from someone else. Instead of seeking fulfillment externally, focus on self-development, nurturing your inner strength, and pursuing personal goals. Take time to explore your interests and passions. Read, write, paint, play music, exercise, or engage in social activities, anything that brings you joy and excitement. When you focus on self-improvement, you will feel more confident and strong, and no longer depend on others to feel happy. At the same time, learn to accept and love yourself. Acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses objectively, and appreciate your uniqueness. When you love yourself, you no longer seek validation from others, and you will become more confident in setting healthy boundaries in relationships. Remember that you are the only one responsible for your own happiness. Don't give that power to anyone else. When you know how to love yourself, develop inner strength, and live a meaningful life, you will become free and happy and attract healthy, mutually respectful relationships. Finally, understand that love is just one part of life, a color that enhances the beautiful painting of our existence. But it's not everything. When we place too much expectation on love, viewing it as our sole reason for living, we unintentionally create an invisible pressure on both ourselves and our partner. To become dependent, vulnerable, and lose the freedom and independence that we once had. On the other hand, when we understand that love is only one part of life, we gain a more objective and relaxed perspective. We no longer cling, demand, or sacrifice too much for love, but learn to balance love with other aspects of life. Imagine life as a garden. Love is a beautiful flower that emits a fragrant scent, adding vibrancy and brilliance to the garden. But the garden is not just flowers. It also has trees, streams, and birds singing melodiously. If we only focus on that flower, we will miss out on the other beauties of the garden. Similarly, if we devote all our attention to love, we will miss out on the other exciting things life has to offer. We won't have time to pursue our passions, nurture friendships, care for our family, or contribute to society. Our life will become monotonous, lacking variety, and easily fall into stagnation if love faces challenges. By understanding that love is not everything, we will learn to appreciate it in the right measure. We will love ourselves, love our partner, but not let love dominate our entire life. We will spend time on personal interests, nurture other relationships, and pursue our own goals. When we live a rich and meaningful life, love becomes a beautiful highlight, a source of motivation rather than a burden or pressure. We will love freely, comfortably, and cherish every happy moment with the one we love.